of Tampa Bay Politics.
Hello.
And I'm your host, Angela Birdsong, with my co-host, Mary Geraci.
Hello, everybody.
They affectionately call me the Medicare lady.
And they call me many things, but I can't repeat any of them on the radio. So she's a lot better loved than I am.
We are so excited because we have a candidate for state rep. He's putting himself out there, and he is going to be a great addition to Tallahassee.
Absolutely.
His name is C.L. Townsend.
Welcome back.
Welcome.
Hello. Thank you for having me.
All right. You got your fan club out there.
Yeah.
You know, CL, we always start from the beginning. Where were you born?
I was born in Sopchoppy, Florida, up in Wakulla County, just south of Tallahassee.
Tallahassee?
Sopchoppy, spell that.
Yeah, Sopchoppy.
Sopchoppy, never heard of it. I think I had it for lunch once, but I don't think I've ever been there.
It is the national capital of worm grunting.
Worm what?
Worm grunting. It holds the U.S. National Championship festival every year for worm grunting.
And what is worm grunting?
Well, it's where you get fish bait.
Yeah?
Go out in the national forest and drive a stick in the ground, rub on it, and it sends a vibration in the ground, and the worms don't like it. They come to the top and pick them up.
Wow.
Oh, yeah. It's a big business. It was one of the only businesses for a while.
Wow. So where did you go to school?
I was in public school in Crawfordville, which is the county seat. I lived in Crawfordville growing up. Got back into the county. And then I went to the University of Florida. Got my degrees in pharmacy. And after that, got excited about the Peace Corps. And my wife and I, at that time, went in the Peace Corps for a couple of years in the late 60s, over to Malaysia. And spent 2 years there with doing public health work in both tuberculosis and in leprosy.
Wow.
Yeah. So then we came back, and I got back into public health and spent a long time doing community planning and things. And then we bought a business up in Maine. It was a lawn and garden and farm supply center. So we did the whole small business retail thing. And
How many years did you do that for?
Oh, well, probably about 6 or 7.
Okay.
He passed away with cancer.
Oh, sorry to hear that.
Then I remarried Ione, and we...
Ione Townsend?
Yeah.
I've heard of her.
She's a mania. Yeah, she's a maniac.
You sly devil. You snatched up our girl Ione. Your southern charms must have won her over.
It was a good thing.
And you know what? Not only she is a fantastic nurse, I believe she's retired now.
Yeah, a nurse practitioner, yeah.
Yep.
She is also our Democratic Party chair for Hillsborough County.
Yep.
Yeah.
Doing a great job as always.
Yeah. Things are really moving there.
Hey, did you come from a political family?
A little bit. My mom and dad, she was a public health nurse forever. My dad started out as a vocational ag teacher and then ran for the elected superintendent of schools in the county. So I was helping him with his campaign, handing out cards and stuff at the fish fry and the chicken perlo dinners we would have around the county at that time. And so he served for about almost 12 years, then was defeated. I was away at college by that time. And so then we circled back into politics big time when we got back to Florida. My wife, Ione, she ran for school board when she was in Maine. And was elected.
I didn't know that.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, she's been out knocking on doors for a long time. And but we got back involved with the Plant City Democrats, helped start that club, and then moved into more active work.
You all do a lot of door knocking out in Plant City, right?
We've done a lot. We have. It's been a great group of people. They've been very interested.
And I think there's an exciting turn that Plant City's looking a little more blue these days, maybe a little more purple.
We turned one of our new precincts in the city blue.
Awesome.
In 18, we've had 2 strong blue precincts, but Beesville and then the east side of town.
Tell
But
us a
then
little
it
bit
took
about Beesville.
Beesville's a wonderful historic story. It was started after the Civil War when one of the white landowners gave 12 families some property that they could have as their own, and they started that community as an agricultural community, and it continued today. They've had their own school out there, Glover School, a strong community.
It's all African American, right?
Well, it had been, and for a long time you could only buy property there unless you knew one of the original family members. But it's changing, and there is more of a blended community there. Quite a few Hispanic families that now live in that area. So it's changing, like everything changes a bit, but it still exerts a big influence. Yeah, it does.
You don't know how many families are out there in that area, do you?
Oh, in that precinct? Oh, I think we've got over. We have close to 1,000 Democrats in that district. I mean, there are more,
Okay.
probably about 3,000 or 4,000 total residents.
Yeah.
In that precinct. Yeah.
All right. Tell us a little bit about the area that you're going to be running in.
Well, it's a big district. It is east-west. It starts over on the west side of Temple Terrace, right next to the university, and then it comes east along I-4, MLK, 92, Knights Griffin, and sort of runs through to Nottosasa, Mango, Dover, Sefner, Plant City, and then Billsville is still within the Plant City post office,
Okay.
but it is really thought of as a separate community.
Hmm.
So it's a big area. We've got about 100,000 voters, roughly
That is big.
roughly a third, and a third. So the Democrats hold a lead in registration, about 2,000, and then the independent and NPAs are slightly less than the Republicans.
Has a Democrat ever won that seat?
Not in the last 20 years.
Wow.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah.
So it's been a long time, but this is the year we're going to take advantage of the opportunity and do it.
What do you attribute the bluing or the melding of Democrats in Plant City moving that way? I think of all the places you've talked about, the most Plant City's up and coming. I spent some time there riding my bike, visiting the town a couple of times. I like what's happening there.
Yeah. Well, I think a lot of it is due to the in-migration of new people. We've got a very strong Hispanic community there. In the district, we've seen a lot of migration from Tampa out to Mango to Nottosasa, Sefner, just because the housing in Tampa is so expensive. So that area is bluing as well.
So the Democrats are heading east.
Pretty much.
Oh,
Yeah,
that's
yeah.
interesting. I
They're
didn't know that.
Following the star.
Yeah. And then you've got the Temple Terrace area, which is just
It's been a strong blue community for a long time.
absolutely
Yeah.
and very diverse. Muslim community, Asian community,
Yeah.
all the collegiate professors and students from all over the world up there.
That's right. That's right. It's this is really one of the more diverse districts, I think, because of the different cultures and religions that are
In the
Yeah.
campus, yeah, USF.
in the campus, right? And of course, we've got the community college out in Plant City, which is a big influence.
Oh, yeah, that
yep.
would be.
Who's the guy you're trying to knock out?
A young man named Lawrence McClure. He is from the Dover area and has a strong background in the agricultural community, a lot of connections. He won on a special election in 17 and then again for a full term in 18. So he's relatively new in the world of politics, and we're hoping that his sort of low profile will be an asset to our campaign. A lot of people are interested, I think, in a little more vigorous representation. We'll bring that to the board.
Yeah, what are you bringing to the board that's going to be different? What are some of your issues that you're going to be presenting and hopefully garnering support for?
Well, I'm very concerned about the the direction the legislature has taken in terms of continuing to pander to big business and corporate interests and sort of leaving the consumer and the average person on the wayside. What really motivated me to get into this race was the announcement in January about the $500 million tax refund given to big corporations. Very little of it went to small businesses, mostly to the big corporations. And for me, that was just the tipping point because there's so many needs that we have, be it expanding Medicaid, improving our schools, teacher pay, focusing on young children in education, building infrastructure, creating a strong climate change battle plan. There were so many things that we needed, and we have lost the focus, I think, on the consumer.
Yeah.
Business doesn't exist unless you have people who are willing to buy things. Henry Ford knew that, and that's why he paid his workers well enough that they could buy his Model T car.
Right. The only real trickle-down theory, pay your workers a living wage, they're going to put it back in the economy, and the economy will be boosted.
Right.
So we want to tell the people about what's going on in Tallahassee.
Well, I want to follow up on Mary's point there
Okay.
because I'd like to think of trickle down doesn't work. Bubble up.
Okay, call
Bubble
it
up.
bubble up. I hadn't heard that term, but I'll take it.
Bubble up works. You put it on the bottom, it'll bubble up. So give it to people who
Yes.
have a need. And, we've been a consumer-based economy since the 1940s as we've transitioned. And so this is not new. This is not rocket science. If you let people have resources to protect their family, prevent medical bankruptcy, avoid hunger, avoid homelessness, they will find a way to put that money back into the economy, and business will benefit. So it's not a matter of tax breaks for business. It's a matter of giving our community people resources and opportunities that they can invest themselves.
I work in Plant City, and the other day I was talking to a former ag teacher, similar to your dad, and we were talking about the loss of the orange crops, the beautiful, beautiful orange crops due to greening, and what's been going on with the agrarian culture of Plant City and Tampa in general. We used to have oranges everywhere. Brandon had them.
Temple Terrace,
Yeah, Temple Terrace was ripe with them. I remember that.
Yeah.
Well, you know what? The developers haven't seen an orange grove they don't love.
That's true.
Yeah,
They planted trees. We planted the orange trees, and they planted houses instead.
that's right.
And they give the farmers an offer they can't refuse.
Yeah.
It is a reality, that's for sure. So we need to find ways to keep farmers able to keep their property and reserve it for conservation uses, keep it for agricultural uses. As climate change develops, some have said that the California breadbasket is likely to dry up with all of the drought that's developing, and Florida, with its water supplies and its strong agricultural community, becomes even more of a national resource in terms of our food security. So I don't think we can do too much to keep farm activity vibrant in the community. It's the attractiveness of a family to sell their property for development purposes. That's a personal decision they have to make. But there are maybe things that we can do from the state level to encourage them to keep those into ag production.
Yeah, support them and help supplement them if needed, because the farmers are being supplemented all over America.
You know what? Talking about development, this regentrification is a huge issue. We got these developers coming into our communities, and they think that $300,000 is an average price of a home.
Affordable housing, yeah.
They think that's affordable.
Yes.
Yeah, it's surprising that those homes do sell. It's amazing.
Yeah, but
to
we
me.
want them to sell to young people,
Who
black
can afford-
people,
Brown
Right.
people, yeah.
Who can
workforce housing.
Right, and that has to be a priority. I mean, it's to the counties that, to be commended for their investment in affordable housing finally, You know, they're putting about 10 million a year now of their money, our money, into affordable housing, not just passing through federal and state dollars. So this is a big investment, and that's been a big fight for years. Our church, First United Church of Tampa, and many other churches, about 20, in a group called HOPE, Hillsborough Organization for Peace and Equality, has been banging on that drum for multiple years.
We
and,
love hope.
Yep,
it's finally paid off.
absolutely.
Thank goodness. Yeah, a lot of leadership there, and we're proud to be part of that.
You know, we're hoping that people like you can flip some seats because we need 14 seats to get the majority in Tallahassee
Right.
because they have been stripping away funds for affordable housing every chance
Yep.
they get.
Right. This was the first
The
year.
Sadowski account has been robbed. This-
Right. And I think this was
frequently.
the first year. Of course, we'll see how it plays out with what the governor does. But the legislature, to their credit, did fully fund it this year. However, now we have COVID. Now we have the budget pin out. So
Yeah.
we don't know yet what's going to happen with
We
it.
don't know
But,
what's going to happen with the money.
Yeah.
Yeah. Hopefully it will be used for what it was earmarked for, but that's going to be iffy, especially because of the COVID. I mean, we're all sort of just, we
But
can't
that's
get a
a-
break with the affordable housing. It just seems like we're just have not been able to just do it.
True, and yet now is the perfect clearly the opportunity to do this. I mean, we do have these prohibitions about evictions and foreclosures, which is needed and reasonable. But I think the COVID has exposed a lot of issues that we need to fully address. Housing being one of them. Yeah.
But you know
Affordable.
what? That eviction nightmare is just is coming down the pike.
Oh,
Yeah, because they've got a lot of evictions that are set to go as soon as that moratorium is all over.
yep.
So just look forward to that. So you're gonna have a lot of people on the street.
And I think the way some of the loans and mortgages are structured needs to be readjusted because it's okay to put off, payments for the next 6 months or so. But if it all comes due at the end of 6 months, that's no advantage because no homeowner is going to be able to, or few homeowners would be able to take care of that big.
The lump sum, yeah.
Right. So it's
yeah.
better if we can require mortgages to take those dollars and put them on the back end of the
Right.
mortgage.
And we need
so-
rent assistance.
Yeah, we need a lot of things. So
Yeah.
speaking of that, and I'll just bang back off of Angela's question, what are you taking to Tallahassee? I mean, Tallahassee has let us down time after time. The road to nowhere, $385 million road to Georgia that is going through sensitive land, which will destroy wildlife, pristine waterways.
They haven't cut that.
The selling off of our water to Nestle for
Yeah.
nothing, and just it's rape, plunder, and pillage.
True enough.
It's a veritable scene out of a Nordic book, Cry of the Valkyrie.
You're
Vote
right.
blue.
Yeah, I mean, I think we can have with a stronger representation. We can block some of those unnecessary pork barrel expenditures. Road to Nowhere is a great example.
Yeah,
I sat in on a session the other day, and there is a broader point of view, which is it's good to do some long-term strategic planning about how you want things to develop. That's relevant. I'm not sure that it's the highway department's particular role. I think maybe there's another group that might be a little broader
Yes,
based to
hopefully.
be doing that. But I was impressed with the language and the intent that they were putting forward about what they wanted to do. However, when it comes down to it, it does seem like this is maybe more a developer-oriented program, and it certainly raises questions. I would say that'd be a nice $60, $90 million that we could find for another purpose than to continue that work.
and it just seems to be a continuous bad attitude that we don't know why we're voting for what we're voting. We don't understand the language. Amendment 4, classic example. On and on and on.
Well, that's
Ashley
good.
Moody came in and said, "Oh, they don't understand the language of this. We're taking it back to reconstruct it like we're idiots."
Yeah.
We're voting.
All right. Do we want to talk about Amendment 4?
Yeah,
Well,
Number one, we need to get rid of a guy named Jamie
Graham.
Graham.
Yeah.
Right.
Okay,
And
if you
any
happen
of-
to be in his district, vote down and vote up for Jessica Harrington.
Yeah,
Right.
she's on our warpath.
He
Well-
is the architect of the Amendment 4 poll tax.
Right.
Yeah.
Let's
And-
talk about that.
And well, we want to get rid of some of his enablers like McClure and other people. that
McClure,
are-
that's
yeah.
your opponent. Get rid of him.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yep.
And so there are other. Toledo is one.
That's what they say,
Beltran-
Torpedo Toledo. We had her opponent on last time,
Yeah.
Miss Julie Jenkins.
Miss
Vote.
Jenkins. Yep.
And Beltran out there. So there are several of
Who's
these.
running against Beltran?
Scott Hottenstein.
Oh,
out in
Scott
Denton.
We
Hottenstein.
also
57.
had on our show.
One
Yeah.
of the teachers that are running.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. So that's another, I think, motivator for me. I mentioned the 500 million, but the other was I worked so hard on Amendment 4 to get those signatures and get that passed, and then to have them turn around and mess it up again.
Yeah.
And it was like, well, wait a minute. Didn't we do this 3 or 4 other times where we passed a constitutional amendment? It went to the legislature, who was Republican controlled, who didn't like the amendment to begin with, but lost it at the ballot box, and used their legislative implementation role to totally subvert what the amendment was all about.
Well, that's what I'm saying.
They-
And they've been doing that regularly. I mean, more than once.
Well,
and,
but-
the voters didn't know what they voted on. They didn't understand the
Right.
language. Oh, we sure as hell did.
Yep.
You don't understand us.
And now it is so
Right?
it's so confusing for the average person because first they added the poll tax.
Yep.
They said you had to pay your fines. That was overruled. Now where do we stand?
Well, I'm not an expert, but we did have a meeting the other night of the Plant City Dems, and Michael Steinberg was there,
Attorney.
who's been representing one of the plaintiffs in the case. And if I remember what he was saying correctly, is that there is a procedure now. It's not simple, but there is a procedure where a person can simply certify that they don't have the funds to pay the tax, and they can register to vote. That needs to be dressed up a little bit, but that's where I think legally we stand at the moment.
Yeah, I
And-
heard him talking on WMNF, and it was just like, when did you commit the crime? How much did you owe before that? What, talking about percentiles, how long? And it was just so convoluted, nobody knows how to figure it out.
I know we had Harry Cohen on here from the clerk of the
Right.
court, and they can't even figure out what all the fees and fines are.
Right.
Yes, Mr. Cohen did explain
They
that.
said it's almost impossible.
Yeah, it's
Well,
an
one of-
ugly thing.
But as I understood it from Michael the other night, there is a provision the judge put in that if a person asks the clerk of the court to give them the number and they can't produce a number in 30 days, then, okay, over and done with. Let's go on. We can
Okay.
get registered to vote.
I like that.
We've dealt with that piece of the puzzle.
I
So.
like that. Yeah, if they can't.
But we've got
provide
a
the
lot of
numbers.
education to do about that. And one of the suggestions made by the gentleman who came up from Sarasota that we ought to start really implementing is that it's so hard to find the individuals involved that we need to go the other way and start advertising that there is a process, there is something that can be done. Call us, here's a number, here's a person, here's a website.
We need leadership.
Now,
We've
Angela
had none.
Warren, our state attorney, also
Leadership.
had something called a rocket docket to
Right.
get rid of the fines and fees.
And I frankly don't know where that stands. I sort of had the impression from Michael that the judge's recent order may have sort of superseded that activity. But his point is that let's, as local groups, as radio stations, whatever, let's devote some public service advertising to there is a solution, here's a number. If you're interested in voting, getting your rights reestablished, call us, we'll work it out with you.
We need a
as a-
unified front. I
Yeah,
agree, because
right.
we are a rudderless ship nationally, statewide, and sometimes even locally. Who do you call? Who do you contact? How do you find out about affordable housing? You're homeless. How do you get to the homeless camp? How do you get food? There's not a lot of that strong leadership
Coordinate, yeah.
available. Coordinated front, like you were saying.
Now, another thing I'm very angry about is our transportation
Oh, yeah,
tax.
that's our snafu.
What do you think? What do you think is going to happen with that tax?
And it's not looking good.
Yeah.
Are you afraid that the court's going to throw it out?
Yes, we are.
And are you? It's my understanding there's a growing consensus that the commission will put it back on the ballot. Is that true?
Well, the thing is, we went through putting it on the ballot.
Yeah, we voted.
The people voted for it.
Absolutely.
And then we had a crazy county commissioner named Stacy White who sued us.
Right.
Okay. And then the president of the in Tallahassee, what is his name? I forgot his name. He's the head of the House of Representatives in Tallahassee.
Okay. I don't remember his name either.
Yeah, but he's working against us as well with this lawsuit.
Mm-hmm. Well, it's my understanding that if the court were to make a decision prior to August, when the primary is, August 18th, let's say, that gives the county still has the opportunity to put on the general ballot in November the proposition if the county commission can get enough votes to do it. And so I think even though they voted a few months ago that they weren't going to do it, that was a separate issue. This opportunity still exists because the ballot for the general election has not been printed.
Yeah,
Won't be printed until after the primary.
I agree with Angela about being upset about it. It's like a slap in our face to say, that we stumped for Amendment 4. We went out in the community. We worked on it. We voted, and now everything that's coming up that's important to us gets pushed aside.
And it comes down to the same solution.
Poor leadership.
Vote blue.
Yeah.
I mean, we have to flip 14 seats in Tallahassee. We have got to get control up there because those are the things that affect our lives.
Yeah,
right.
Absolutely.
And we have an opportunity. It's not quite as big a hurdle in the Senate. So anything we can do to assist our Senate candidates, we've got a great opportunity here in Hillsborough now with Kathy Lewis, who did very well against Tom Lee in 2018. If we can get her over the hump.
Okay, so Kathy Lewis is out there in Wesley Chapel.
Her district,
New Tampa,
Northwest.
It's all of East Hillsborough. It's Plant City,
wow,
right through District 58. A lot of 59.
It's big.
Oh, it's
big.
huge.
It's got New Tampa in there. I know that.
Okay.
But it does go up into Pasco, and then there's a little piece over into Polk County. But I'm told there's some encouraging signs in that area because there is a new Democratic club or organization developing from the citizens out in the Polk County area. So he ran a heck of a campaign and surprised everybody by beating Tom Lee in Hillsborough County, his home county.
Wow.
So, she's got a shot. I think we really all get behind Kathy. And
I think any black woman candidate has a shot, a big one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right now.
and much needed. And much needed. We need representation. I've lived here 40-something years, and I haven't seen it until this year, last couple of years.
I just wish I could vote for her. That's all I can say.
Yeah.
We got to go to break because we have to help pay the bills, but we'll be back.
On the backside, can we talk about Kanye West?
Okay.
Oh, my gosh.
Let's bring it up.
One more minute.
Kanye
West needs to take his meds.
That being said, how do people get in touch with you? Let's get a little info out. Your phone number and your website, please.
Yeah, website is C.L. Townsend for Florida, all spelled out, .com. And the phone number is 813-704-5131.
Give that to us again, nice and slow.
813-704-5131. And the website is cltownsendforflorida.com.
Because when we come back, I want to talk about the Zoom meetings and the meet and greets.
We want to talk about your campaign, and how we can help you.
Okay.
You want to meet folks? He's going off for Zoom because of the COVID and ready and willing to meet and greet, right?
Right, absolutely.
Okay.
Whoa.
To our audience.
What a crowd.
They're hard to see. Quite a crowd. Always
Hey,
a crowd.
good crowd. Yeah.
to reality radio, everyone is a star.
I know that's right.
On your smooth soul and R&B station. On the World Wide Web.
Access granted.
In Touch Radio.
The storks are bringing me a baby brother. We can do this together.
All right, let's go.
Storks know how to keep kids safe. Do you?
What?
Oh my gosh, you don't know.
I know.
You don't. Oh man, you laugh when you're uncomfortable.
No.
Making sure your child is in the right car seat is one of the steps to safer travel.
I will rock this.
You will rock this.
To know for sure that your child is in the right car seat for their age and size, visit safercar.gov/the right seat.
Cool. Very cool.
Brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration and the Ad Council.
It's important to plan ahead for emergencies, like the storm. When it kicked in, we had a plan.
Separated.
We were able to get in touch with each other
and had
in
no
no time.
idea how to find each other.
The whole experience was
the
fine.
most frightening 10 hours of my life.
If there's one piece of advice I'd offer other moms out there, it's to stay calm
don't
and
ignore
keep to the
this
plan.
message.
Some parents plan ahead, some don't. Make sure you know where to find your family in an emergency. Start your plan at ready.gov. Brought to you by FEMA and the Ad Council.
In Touch Radio is smooth soul.
Rocking your radio on the sounds of soul.
Playing your favorite R&B. In Touch Radio.
It may be hard to believe, but people just like you are already saving money. FeedThePig.org makes it easy. Their simple savings plan teaches you how to start saving without going overboard, so you don't need to start foraging wild berries.
I was skeptical, but these are actually pretty good.
You don't need to sell your soul to the devil.
$15 is the best I can do.
You just need FeedThePig.org. Don't get left behind. Get tips and tools at FeedThePig.org. Brought to you by the American Institute of CPAs and the Ad Council.
Welcome to Calvin's Barbershop.
You all gotta see this.
I don't even want to know what you're looking at on that phone.
Well, you should. I was learning about the dangers of high blood pressure and that we need to get ours checked regularly. High blood pressure can increase the risk of heart attack or stroke, but this text program can help keep it at a healthy range. Just text barbershop to 97779 to sign up.
I'll get right on it as soon as I'm done with this baby panda video.
Text Barbershop to 97779. A message from the American Heart Association and the Ad Council.
Here we go. We're back again. And you know what? This time while we're back, we want to talk about how we can help your campaign, how you're going to take over this whole territory, one voter at a time.
Right. It's we're doing some new things. We've got a Zoom account that's tied into a phone, so persons can just dial in if they want.
And where would they get hooked up for the Zoom? On your website? How do they get in touch for finding out about this information?
Well, they can call us if they're interested. What we're asking volunteers to do, and if someone's interested, they could contact us and we'll set it up. But we're in touch now with about 50 people who have indicated one way or another their interest in inviting a dozen or so of their friends or more to a meeting on Zoom. We set up the account. We send them the link. They pass it along to their friends and they register. And then we gather at whatever particular time for about an hour to talk about the things that are of interest to those community members, which is my primary interest, and also to talk about my campaign and what's of interest.
So it's like a modern town hall.
Yeah, a small
meet and greet.
Well, due to the pandemic.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yes, we've got to get creative here.
Yeah.
Right.
And got to find a way to get to the voters anyway.
Yeah.
Right.
And I love Zoom.
Yeah,
because a lot of people will
yes.
get on there who might not have been able to travel.
Absolutely.
You know, and we want vote by mail. So even if they can't get out of their house, they can vote by mail.
And we want
so we want to reach everybody.
voters to be safe and not hanging out in crowds and town halls and getting sick. So this is a way to help save lives too from COVID.
Right.
So
we're hopeful. What we hope is that not only will we learn a lot about what voters are interested in, and they'll learn about me and our campaign, and that one or two of those people in that meeting will say, "Wow, I've got a group of friends. I want to share this same idea," and they'll go out and create their own thing, their own meet and greet event.
So one virtual meeting leads to another.
Right. It's sort of like the Mary Kay or Tupperware or all of that kind of retail marketing, home-based marketing.
No, it's like a pyramid scheme that works. That's
Pretty
actually
much,
positive.
That makes things
Makes things positive.
Yeah.
What are you hearing? Okay, are you reaching out to all the Democratic parties in your area? I know there's probably one in every area. You got Seffner, Temple Terrace, Plant City. So are you connected to all those Democratic parties? Do they know you? Are you talking? Are you chatting it up with them?
Right, and we're attending all those relevant meetings as well as the caucuses. We were on the Black Caucus.
Democratic Black Caucus.
Yes.
I saw you on there last night.
Yep. So we were there, and they're all holding candidate reviews. So that's a good avenue of getting out there. We do have a Facebook page. It's CL for FL 58. So you can go on that. That's
CL for FL 58. Okay.
Right. .com.
.com.
Well, on Facebook, it's just.
Oh, that's your Facebook page.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
So Google it, CL for FL 58.
Right.
What are you hearing? What are you hearing? What is the number one thing you're hearing from all these people that you're talking with, that you're chatting with all over that diverse area that your 58 is?
Well, this campaign that we're talking about with the meet and greets is just cranking up. So we haven't had a lot of feedback from that. But I think we still have the same interest of Amendment 4, getting that poll tax reversed in my community. That's a big item. We want to expand some Medicaid, so that
Medicaid expansion.
Right now with COVID, it's crazy to be
huge.
Cutting it back. It's doesn't make any sense.
Horrible. It's like they want all the voters to die. I don't even get this anymore.
So why don't we just take care of, get rid of the Affordable Care Act?
Oh, they're trying to do that too.
What do we need Medicaid for? What do people need health insurance for?
Right. The unemployment problem with the state system has been a nightmare. I'm hearing a few things that maybe it's getting a little better, but there's still a lot of disappointment, a lot of heartache about trying to.
That has become a national story.
Yep.
And
Chuck Schumer
embarrassment
was in the Congress saying you can't get a unemployment check in the state of Florida.
Yeah, it's an embarrassment. It's a national embarrassment.
Right. And then our whole approach to reopening with COVID, these are two battleships going in different directions, and it's not good. Not good.
Who do we owe that unemployment system to?
I think
who did that?
We could talk Rick Scott and the legislature. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, those guys had to know.
Ricky Rick.
Yeah.
Criminal Rick Scott. Yeah.
Well,
vote blue.
We've been the Republicans have got us on a race to the bottom.
Oh my gosh.
And I think the time has come for us to realize that they've won that race, and we need to turn the ship around.
Amen.
So there's a whole lot in my campaign about talking about trying to change the conversation, trying to bring, because of my pharmacy background, trying to bring a clear sense of science to the decision making that's there, focusing on the service needs of people that I would have met at my pharmacy. I remember so many times young women coming in to get their birth control pills, and their insurance was either non-existent, or if they had it, the copay was so high that they could not afford to use the contraceptions that we have available. And anything we can do to lower the unwanted pregnancies for young women and adult women is going to be a positive. And if we can't do that, we will never
Now,
get
you would think they would want to avoid unwanted pregnancy since they hate abortions.
Well,
they go after Planned Parenthood with such a vengeance.
Right. And every time you find
can't have it both ways.
Well, and all the data shows that when Democrats are in charge of their legislatures, contraceptive services are more affordable, more expanded, more accessible. Abortions go down. So the data is there to prove our point, plus just the human fact of an unintended pregnancy for a young girl is one of the most
devastating,
traumatizing.
Right, and it's such a key factor in terms of helping her if she's in a marginal income situation, poverty situation. That's going to keep her stuck in that as opposed
and bring
to
a whole
giving
bunch of other children
and
and
we
people
want to put
into
an
it.
end to generational poverty.
Yes.
Yeah,
Yes.
absolutely.
And the
especially in
best thing you
Florida.
can do is stay in school.
Yeah.
Right.
And we don't want any bumps along the way. We can help it.
Well, there'll be some bumps, but we can bump right over them.
Education
We've all
is the
had them.
great equalizer.
It is.
Right.
And opportunity after opportunity.
Talking
and
about education, oh my gosh, are the kids going back to school in August?
Sounds crazy right now from what I'm hearing. We don't have a plan, that's for sure. And I get it. I haven't seen all the news, but I hear there's a lot of uproar about the state putting a hammer down.
Okay, so talking about all this horrible COVID and all these crazy things, are you nuts? Why are you running? What is the real reason you want to run? Tell me from the heart. Tell your audience from the heart. I mean, you've got to be committed if you're going to go through all of this trauma, tragedy, having the obstacles in the way. You have to be committed to want to do this.
Yeah, well, simply I think
It's hard.
Our district we deserve a different representation.
Amen.
And I couldn't find anyone who wanted to do it. And I was not going to let this opportunity pass with an empty slate on this particular race. It's too important. We've got too big of an opportunity. And you're right. I got into this, and there are days when you look around and you say, oh, my God, what did I do?
I know. All our politicians have been on here struggling with COVID, trying to get out to people, being creative, but they're strong and they've been resourceful, and they're committed. Sounds like you're committed.
I think, yes, I am.
I mean, the fact that the Republicans have gone buck wild crazy helps you.
Yeah, we're hopeful that's going to play out. I mean, I think there's a lot of Republican fatigue. There's a lot of Trump fatigue for sure.
Yeah,
that'll
definitely.
spill over. Yeah.
I've read several really brilliant articles where Republicans are like, we're done. We're going blue. I can't deal with this morally,
right.
mentally, spiritually anymore. And there's, not in big waves, but it's starting to happen.
Yeah.
Trump fatigue.
Well, it's about our country.
Absolutely.
At some point you have to say, you know what, I want my democracy to survive.
Yeah.
Yep.
It's not doing well right now. It's on the gurney with a respirator.
And this person in the White House, I
ward.
really don't know that he's a Republican. I don't even know if he's a conservative. I don't know who he is.
Yeah, he's all over the board. Well, you talk of that. On my lapel, I wear 3 buttons. One is a strawberry.
I saw that.
in
Plant City.
One is a comma, and this is a thing about our church, which is based on that saying that Gracie Allen had about don't put a period where God put a comma. It's not over. God's still speaking.
Amen.
So
He's in charge.
We've got a lot to learn with that. And then my flag is upside down.
I saw that.
Because we are in distress.
Yes.
And we need as a country to get back on the high road. Until we do that, I'm going to keep wearing my flag.
Well, we just need to get more people like you in office, good people.
So
who really
you mentioned
care.
churches. That's a sticky point with a lot of people. People believe that churches are conservative, churches are filled with Republicans, churches this, churches that. They're getting bashed quite a bit. Evangelicals have come to the forefront for Trump. How do you work the church into this?
Well, I think, the spiritual life is very private and personal, and so I think there are a lot of people who have those feelings. They may not be affiliated with a denominational church. I think some of the evangelical part has, clearly sold itself out to Trump and the Republican Party for achieving what they see as societal gains, their political agenda, unfortunately. There is
judges.
And we have, I want to come back to that point about judges, but
But I'm saying you have a lot of diversity. You have synagogues in your community. You have the Muslim community, the Catholic community, predominantly Hispanic Catholic communities.
Yeah.
You have a lot of different faiths that you need to reach out to. People think when they hear religion, it's Baptist, white people, evangelists, and Republicans.
No, I think we need to be respectful of all of those religious traditions, and some parties are not, and that's unfortunate. But our campaign is definitely going to be respectful of all of that,
and to be able to reach out to them as well.
Right, and there is still there is a progressive level of religious thought that pervades, I think, a lot of our religious communities, certainly around the issues of tolerance, certainly around the issues of acceptance. And those are the sort of key values that keep the focus working together, which is where we're at, particularly with Hope, because it has a broad section of those kind of people that are committed to social justice.
Yes.
Yeah. But in terms of the judges, you're right. We as Democrats have not prioritized those kinds of decisions. And some of this has to be understood in the context of, as a friend told me, Republicans are riding thoroughbreds. We're riding quarter horses. So there is a long view and a short view. And I think for us as Democrats, we need to be aware of that so that we start thinking more strategically, more long term, so that we get into the mode of playing chess, not checkers.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And I think some of these Supreme Court decisions that have come out recently are making people focus more on who's on the court.
Yeah, finally, they're speaking up, and they're going against Trump several times already.
And we have to look at who are in our lower courts.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, that's a key part, yeah.
Because that's the one that's going to affect us the most. But the Supreme Court decisions lately,
the courts affect you.
Yeah.
And that's how they get those evangelicals. They want number one on the abortion issue and number two on the judges.
Yeah.
They're like, we don't really care what he says. We want those judges and we don't want anything to do with Planned Parenthood. So they'll vote yes.
Yeah.
But we had some exciting changes right there. And our Supreme Court seems to
it's interesting.
Getting Trump fatigue as well, it looks like.
Yeah. They've made some decisions I don't think many of us fully expected.
Yeah, I was surprised. I was shocked.
Yeah. But no time soon should we let our guard down at all on that issue.
Yeah. Who's president the next time is very important because I don't know how long Ruth Bader Ginsburg is going to last.
Right.
Exactly. Yeah.
We try to get judges on the show as much as we can because who you vote for those judges is very important because we got the school to prison pipeline going on
all the time.
Yeah.
We need some leniency.
Yeah, we need better choices about that, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I think Lynn Gray's pushing a program about sort of a holistic approach.
She's on the school board, Lynn Gray.
Right, she's running for re-election, and I was impressed with her presentation the other night at our meeting about how to encompass both behavior and attitude and academics and pull that together so that kids have a better chance for success when they get into school. And what I see is the challenge for education. Andrew Gillum made a point of this in his campaign, and others have here. We've got some opportunities going on in Hillsborough County we need to expand on. But the point is that the 0 to 5 population kids, most of their brain development happens by the age of 5. Probably 85%, I'm told. But we spend 85% of our money on education after that.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So somehow we
used to have Head Start, get the babies as young as
we do have
possible.
Head Start. We do.
But that's what I'm saying.
That's under Hillsborough County.
That was created in order to
address this problem.
To address the problem. 0 to 5, the Head Start program. Awesome program.
Yep, and it needs to be expanded, and we haven't done it. We've substituted sort of that VPK, and that's going to help. However, a lot of that is, I got a feeling, is more to help make it easier for parents to be into the workforce.
Yeah, more babysitting than education.
Yeah, and some have argued, I know now, even on the reopening, that the issue is not so much that we want to promote education, but we want to make sure we take the child care burden and the education burden off of the parent so they can go back to work. Okay, well enough.
Yeah.
However, we can't use education facilities for babysitting.
And we have been doing that. I actually did some permanent subbing for 3 years, and that's going on. That's part and parcel
And
of
we
what's
don't
going on.
want your destination to be determined by your zip code.
Right.
Every child deserves a good education.
Right. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yep.
So you're going in. There's a lot of changes that need to be made. There's a lot of folks that need to be displaced. You have a lot on that list.
Well, and we haven't even talked about the environment, which is probably
Talk about it.
The if there was a issue that really grabs my attention the most, it would have to be that, because I think about the opportunity we have to lower our carbon footprint and its impact on communities of all color. There's a lot of unfortunate things happening in marginal communities around environmental issues.
Lots of pollution. Lots of the children have asthma, African American children, because they live in dirty, filthy, polluted areas. I mean, right here, Hillsborough Avenue, they might live in a beautiful home here and be safe, but all that pollution is wafting over, and all that debris and lead in the water.
And I do want to say we are at THAP, which is at 5508, and this is the home of the weatherization office as well. So if you know someone who cannot fix their air conditioning, their roof needs fixing, remember that the weatherization office is here, and there are state funds for people to fix their homes.
To make your home safe for your children, to breathe. The kids with asthma need cooler air. They need, all sorts of stuff.
I mean, not having air in Florida is a huge issue.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, it's a health issue. It's a health issue. It's a health issue.
And having clean water. Clean water matters to everyone.
Yes.
It matters to the farmers in District 58 who are growing our crops. And they have a big role to play in trying to lower carbon in the environment.
Carbon footprint, absolutely.
Yep. So I think they're going to be a positive force. We need to encourage them in that direction. The opportunity for solar is dramatic.
We have a solar program too.
Yeah.
Yes.
Solar in Florida is a no-brainer, folks. We've got sun 365 days of the year.
That's right. That's going to bring down your bills.
Yeah, we should have done this 50 years ago. Yeah, it's free energy sources. So that being said, what gets in your way? What is the number one thing in your way in politics now that you're going to just bust right on through? What is your big hurdle?
Well, I think for our hurdle, for our little campaign, is finding enough, if you will, financial resources that we can lodge a very aggressive communications program. So if you go to our website, cltownsendforflorida.com, there is a place on there that you can donate to our campaign. It'd be greatly appreciated. We are encouraging people to think about affordable recurring donations. $5, $10, $25 a month is a very
reasonable.
It's
reasonable.
We hope reasonable, but also very important, because these recurring donations become the backbone of your fundraising effort. It's so important to keep that pipeline going. There's an opportunity on that website to volunteer, select some activities you'd like to participate in, provide us with your email and your cell phone, and we'll keep you in touch with what we're doing as a campaign and provide opportunities for you to participate as we go down this pipeline.
What about signs? You got some signs?
Thank you about signs. We are doing signs. We are encouraging people to help us call. We've got some targeted calling lists for strong Democratic voters on busy streets and roads.
Okay.
And we're asking them to give us permission to put up a larger sign, not a small yard sign, that will help us build better name recognition throughout the district. So we're getting ready to do some of that in the county part, but we need more people to call these targeted lists and just talk to other voters. So thank you. Yeah.
What's the number? Let's have the number again.
The number to call for getting in touch with that would be 813-704-5131.
And how young or old do you need to be to help out?
Old enough to hold a phone in your
That's
hand.
right.
And There is no upper age limit.
So
yeah.
we can bring some kids. We can bring our 15-year-old kids,
Absolutely.
our new voters, potential
Well,
voters.
it's challenging times, but everyone can still assist.
Yeah, you could call from your home. You can, and have
You
to
can
go in a group.
run that virtual Zoom from your home.
And kids are computer savvy, so we need to encourage our
We need
youth.
the young people.
We need our youth in on this.
And we have the virtual phone banks that are set up to target these voters, so it's easy to do.
Great.
Yeah.
You can text people. The text program, too.
Yeah, right.
Yeah. The sky's the limit with the new technology during COVID. Thank God we have it.
That's
I
a fact.
know.
It's been a blessing in disguise, yeah.
We're wrapping it up already.
Wow, that went fast.
Yeah, it did. Thank you all.
Thank you.
Thanks for having me on.
Good
So you
luck
got
with
to know
everything.
C.L. Townsend today.
Not only know him, but love him. He's a sweet man. I like him. He's a sweetheart.
All right, see you at the polls. August 18th is a
Absolutely.
primary, folks.
Or mail it in if you have to.
And fill out your census, please.
Yes, already done.
Yeah.
We need the money.
Don't we need the money?
All right.